Hey guys. Well, I just wanted to kind of take you on a walk with me around my yard, but I want to kind of have a week in review and talk about kind of that weird trending video that got so many hits, the leg wraps. I also want to tell you about my intentions for the YouTube channel and kind of who I am a little bit, and I want to have some of these like just us kind of videos once a week at least, just to kind of give you some updates on what's going on. So that that trending video. So I actually did not put a lot of time into that, and I really wasn't thinking that it was going to get as popular as it had, and I also didn't think that it was going to hit such a nerve that it hit with everyone. Oh, here we go. Let's sit down. I really thought it was going to be one of those just equestrian education videos that kind of a few people saw and some people appreciated, but it's there for people to see. But really what happened was, like, I'm like, I gotta put, I think, a third video in this week, and I want to make sure that it's something of some sort of substance. I don't have a lot of time, so I think I'll just report the news. I'll kind of bring some attention to an area that I think that needed a little bit more attention, which was the leg wrap issue. So I'm like, all right, put it together, post it, no big deal. And then it just exploded 3 days later. I'm like, oh, look at that. I guess people are interested in discussing stuff like this. So you guys gave me a lot of good ideas for new videos, and I appreciate the comments. I do want to remind everybody that if the comments start getting really inappropriate, I will delete them. So just make sure that there's no inappropriate language in there. And I didn't have to delete any of them just yet, but if there is inappropriate language, just be warned. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Dara Lewis. Currently, I am the one and only employee with Uplift Equine, and it was my idea to have Inception. I wanted to call it something that had a positive tone to it and kind of showed people that, you know, you can uplift your knowledge, uplift yourself. You know, you don't have to be just a beginner, but you also don't have to be the most knowledgeable person in order to benefit from this either. But you don't have to be a beginner, and you can be very knowledgeable. But I also wanted to keep it open to other people and other trainers to kind of come along and be a part of this if that actually happens. And even other people just in general that just love horses, could be bodybuilders, could be anybody. So I just wanted to keep that open, just Uplift Equine as a general, like, community of horse people that care about their horses and care about the humane ways to take care of them and train them and all of that. But yep, so my history is I have been necessarily into the horse industry, but around horses and doing things with horses for the past 26 years. I've been a coach on and off, more recently now, or for the past 2 years than I did before. I mean, I hit it hard when I was younger, but I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough knowledge to really make it a thing, and I couldn't get the respect that I needed because, you know, I'm 19 years old thinking I know everything. It's not a good look. But I've been coaching for about 17 years, and it's not just horses. Like, for the past 10 years, I've actually just been a leadership coach as a management person in the management team in logistics company. But that particular company, it goes hand in hand with leadership, because I trained the people under me so that they can be more self-reliant and self-sufficient, so that when they do call me, it's something serious and something that is my level to take care of, not just anything. You know, like if you're in a lower leadership position, you're going to have some sort of like leadership capabilities. Promise me. But translating that into horses, which is something that I've loved to do, I went the coaching route versus the quote instructor route. Because what the coaching route does is it puts the power in the student's hand. And I mean, unfortunately, I don't have any schoolmasters or school horses to be able to offer that for people that don't have that kind of opportunity to have a horse themselves. So it's currently just, as long as you have a horse, I can coach you. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know that I am familiar with certain disabilities. I have trained horses for people that have some issues, and even myself. Like I inadvertently trained my horse to be like an epilepsy alert horse, and not my current one, but the one that I lost now about like 6 years ago. She alerted me when my seizures were going to happen, and I had no idea that that was going to be a thing, but I think it came out of the bond that we had. But I can go into that later. But yeah, I'm not just some person coming out of the sky. I actually got so discouraged with training horses because no one wanted to go, at the time at least, no one wanted to go with the lighter, kinder side of training. Everyone's like, you gotta be pushed, you gotta be the alpha. And I'm like, that doesn't appeal to me. But my methods, I got so discouraged that I'm like, I'll just be a Yoda. I'll just be training my own horse, my own way. And if somebody comes up to me for help, I'll help them out. But you know, I'm not gonna put myself out there. But you know, another person that ended up being a student of mine, a really good friend, she actually encouraged me to get myself out there, because she's like, there's not enough people that are doing this. And as the years go by, and of course with the Paris Olympics, I'm noticing that this type of training is becoming more and more needed as the public eye is more upon us, and it's a very bad look to hit horses in order to train them. I mean, you can do a lot more with being a lot more tactful than to have to just resort to, you know, complete violence all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I left certain training methods. Like I went with the traditional training method because I only had traditional trainers around me, and that didn't appeal to me after a certain amount of time. I mean, I trained in a Western pleasure barn, and the owner brought in this big name trainer, and she's like, you can learn a lot from this guy. You know, if you want to be a trainer, you got to go study under this guy. I'm like, let's see. So he shackled this horse and started whipping him to make him go forward, but the horse was in shackles, so the only way the horse could move forward was in a, like, that shuffly trot or that shuffly lope that Western pleasure horses have. And I'm like, that didn't appeal to me. I just walked away. And at the time, I'm like, this is the same time that Ankie van Gerzen was getting into her thing, and she was getting really popular with the Royal Cur. And I know Royal Cur didn't start with her or her trainer, but it became very public with her and her trainer. And I was just so sick of it. I left. I left everything, and then I went into the classical dressage, and I loved it. I loved the classical method. I learned a lot from the trainer that I had in Canada, and I don't like saying who it was unless it's with, like, personally, because I don't want to give this person more publicity than they are interested in. So I'll say it, but I won't say it publicly. But yeah, I left and I went classical, and then I just did classical behind the scenes for a long time. But I skipped a part. I went with Pirelli after I got really disgusted, because a lot of people were also telling me that my mare needed a heavy hand, because she was like, she needed an understanding hand. She was very fearful, but a lot of people just, misinterpreted her fearfulness for, what's the word for it? For being like abstinent. But the people who responded in saying that she was abstinent, they ended up not doing well with her. A couple people were sent to the hospital because she was she took the fight instead of the flight when she got frustrated. So I went to the Pirelli system, and I mean, at the time there weren't any Pirelli like trainers, and the 2 boxes that I got in the mail had just been converted from cassette tape to DVD. So I'm like, oh, I got the new thing, and I thought, I'm like, I would so want to go to Colorado and train with this guy, and it's like, it's $750. I'm like, that's expensive. I mean, back in 2006 it was expensive, but now thinking back and seeing how big he is now, I'm like, man, $750 seems to be a deal. But anyway, I left that, but I'll go into more of why I left Pirelli later in another video. But like I said, I did the classical method for a long time. I adopted my current horse, Revan, did the classical method with him, and then someone found me out and encouraged me to get going on it publicly. So, but now that I am no longer in logistics, I'm kind of going full bore into this, and figuring out the technology, figuring out my posting schedule and all of that. I just wanted to say, this is who I am. This is why I'm getting into this, and I think that if we come together as a well-meaning community that treats their horses properly and trains them without force or violence, and uses consent-based training and rewards-based training, I think if we come together and make sure that the public knows that not all of us are people who are abusing horses, and not all of us decide to go, alpha in training horses, that maybe our horses won't get taken away by the government. Call me paranoid, but I can see that it could go that direction if we're not careful as a community. So that's my outlook on it. I wanted to let you know that all of the playlists are my different categories for things, and it kind of gives me freedom to post kind of random topics. As long as it fits within one of my playlists, I feel comfortable just posting it in a random time. I'm like, if I don't get classical solutions out on a Wednesday, then it'll go on Friday, and nobody's gonna care otherwise, because it's in that playlist. But yeah, the equestrian education stuff is just random, tutorial based, or news, or something, anything that could be under an educational side of things. And then the classical solutions are something that I want to be more careful with, and that's why I haven't really done another one. Technically, I've done another one. It needs to be edited. It's going to be like a 2-parter, I think. But I want to be careful. I want to make sure that I get everything in there that I want. Sometimes there'll be general overviews, but what else? The foundational horsemanship, I think, is complete, so it's there for your reference, and I do send my students there. If anyone's interested in online coaching, I'm getting that set up. I'm not sure how many hits I'm going to get on it, but who knows. If you're interested in being coached in the classical method, no matter what, where you're at, most sports can benefit from classical method. So, I've got a lot of different students. So, like some students are like, let's go full bore into classical dressage. We're gonna do from point A to point B. One of them's, It's not my first barrel racer, but you're a barrel racer. I'm like, I guarantee you can learn 4 things from dressage to make your barrel racing better. To make it safer on you, safer on the horse, less prone to injury, less prone to falling, and it could make your times better too. Just saying. Long distance trail riding, there's a lot of things, jumping, there's a lot of things that could benefit from the classical method. And, you know, I'm not picky in whose interests are where. I can just tell you how to make things better. But, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to let you guys know what my intentions are in this. I'm trying to improve things. I'm not trying to, you know, put myself on a soapbox or anything, but if you have any comments for like, hey, you know, you should have done your research, you're like, hey, do you know where the research is? Because I will do as much research as I have time for. I'll put it out on the video. If you have something else, let me know, put it in the comments. I will definitely thank you for that. It's a community effort. It's not just a me effort. So if you've got something to add, let me know, and I will thank you for it. I'm not some prideful person that thinks they know everything. And follow along with Revan's training. I'm going to start a challenge series because my desire is to go into the bent Brandrup training and the academic method. I've been following him for a number of years as a distance role model. I like his method. It goes along with what I've learned in Canada, and I just like the attitude. He's got a really collaborative effort attitude that, you know, his books are a collaborative effort with all of his knighthood trainers. So basically it's going to be, I show you guys how to get the training plan going, and then I put the training plan into place. I say, okay, here's my goal, here are my milestones, this is my timeline. If we get to the timeline, that's fine, but it all also depends on Revan and his training, and granted, he's not going to get another injury. He tends to injure himself in the field because he's a rambunctious gelding who's, you know, sight challenged. So sometimes he gets a little bit too intense, but that's just how he is. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, every Monday I want to give you a little bit of an update, a little bit of a review, kind of be a more, you know, one-on-one thing. But yeah, the plan is Monday lifetime plus bitless horse projects. I know this week we didn't ride, so, you know, it was just kind of gloomy and I wasn't feeling great, but when I do have my rides, I'll post those on Mondays as well. And then classical solutions or equestrian education, like tutorial type things on Wednesdays, and then on Fridays are going to be those fun hot takes, you know, those things that are like the unpopular opinion that some want to hear, some really don't want to hear, but, you know, who cares? If you're part of my tribe, you can follow me. If you're not, if you don't really want to hear what I have to say, doesn't matter to me either way, honestly. There's not much bad that you can say, because I've heard it all in my previous soul-sucking job. So yeah, just let me know. I want to stay positive. I want to stay kind. And if you have something good and constructive to say and add, let me know. Also, with the Patreon, I'm looking at it as more of kind of like a donation to the cause, basically. But it'll definitely help me out to kind of get me going. Seeing as I just, you know, lost my job, and I'm still trying to get this whole shindig going, getting some more students that I didn't have time for previous to this. Judge me however you want, if you will, but that's okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful time. Have a good Shabbos, and be kind. Have a good time with your horse, and build that relationship that you need. All right? Have a good one.